Hi, everybody. I'm Cindy Coggins with Cindy Coggins Realty Group and Michael Copeland with Dean Hansen Agency, Farmers Insurance. And today we are going to introduce Michael Martin. He is the risk management specialist with Dalworth Restoration. Hi, Michael. How are you doing?
Good. How's everyone doing today? Thanks for having me.
Yes, we're doing okay. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your business, Michael.
Well, so again, name's Michael Martin. I work for Dalworth Restoration. Been working for the company for a little over 2 years now. I have a history of helping customers out. So I have a long history of being in restaurant management for about 12 years. Really helps me understand the customer and what people like. And then I made the transition over to the restoration business about 2 years ago to help people out in a little bit of a different way. So that's a little bit about my background and kind of myself. I'm a UTA graduate that I'm really proud of. Go Moving Mavs. But specifically with Dalworth Restoration, we're independently owned fire, water, mold restoration company. So we're a licensed mold remediation company. So what do we deal with? We deal with emergency services. We've been in business for over 48 years. And again, we're a locally independently owned restoration company. So we service the DFW Metroplex and all outlining areas around the DFW Metroplex. We also go to Houston, San Antonio, Austin for that kind of stuff as well. So we would definitely want to take care of people within the DFW Metroplex. It's our bread and butter, but of course we outline for all areas like that. Personally, I am a risk management specialist with Dalworth Restoration. So what does that mean? Well, I help customers take a proactive instead of a reactive approach on properties. And I do that by creating an emergency response plan or an ERP plan. Specifically, that's just taking some information out, gathering some information beforehand so we better understand you, your business, and what happens whenever disaster strikes. And a lot of people want to be able to secure priority response in the event of area-wide weather events such as the tornadoes that we had in October or flood flashes, that kind of stuff like that. They're also laser focused on lowering restoration costs, which to me, the biggest formula I always use for lowering restoration costs, which keep in mind, everybody, is typically unbudgeted because we're dealing with emergency situation. Time and severity equals cost. So we want to alleviate that time, which is going to alleviate the severity and alleviate that cost. And I do that through a proactive approach with an emergency response plan.
Very good. Well, I have another question for you. What services other than restoration do you offer your clients?
So that's a great question. So whenever people think about restoration, they really think about water, but we're so much more than that. Like I talked about before, we're kind of almost a turnkey service. So first and foremost, we deal with fire damage, water damage, mold damage, storm damage, anything like that. But we're so much more. We're not just here just to kind of dry out the job and get out of your hair and make you deal with the rest and leave you with a whole mess to pick up. So we're turnkey in the sense of we do all of our own reconstruction. We also do contents as well. We have a beautiful contents warehouse that we're able to put any and everything in and take care of it for you. We're able to clean your materials, your contents, such as anything from computers to your clothes to maybe one of your favorite pictures or photos that you had. So we want to make sure that we keep those special items in your family for generations to come. And we do that by restoring all those contents that you have. We also are doing disinfectant services as well. So a lot of people just, again, think about emergency services. That's all encompassing with Dalworth Restoration. So I'm dealing with the COVID crisis right now by providing clients, whether it's residential or commercial, by doing hospital grade disinfectants with EPA endless numbers to come in and do some COVID cleaning. So what do? We do everything. Is kind of how I just
Wow.
I'm really excited to hear that you said residential because I was starting to get a little nervous, as an insurance agent. I want to make sure that my people get their homes taken care of as well as their business. So my first question for you is when I do have one of these catastrophes and the fire departments come out and they've watered down my house to try to save it and I need you to come out and fix it, who do I call? Do I call you? Do I call my insurance agent? Who's first?
No, that's literally the $1 million question. And Michael, please correct me if I'm wrong here with this kind of stuff because you have a little expertise in this as well. But typically from the insurance side, whenever a disaster happens, there's a lot of moving parts that go on. And really, let's be frank, we're freaking out about what's going on whenever damage to our property happens, whether that's commercial or residential. So first and foremost, you need to call somebody to get out there to mitigate the damage. And on the insurance side, they typically agree with this because, again, time and severity equals cost. So going through a middleman sometimes is not the best thing. It's about getting somebody out there as quick as you can to help expedite this process and at least get the mitigation part going. So the answer to that question is we work hand in hand with the insurance company. However, I would like for you to reach out to me first so I can at least get somebody moving and then immediately call your insurance agents afterwards, like Dean Hanson or Michael Copeland with Farmers.
So is there an emergency number if my agent isn't at work? How do I let them know that, I need help at 3:00 in the morning?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So being a risk management specialist, I'm 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So my number is always on and always available. If that's not the case, though, I do have an emergency number that is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, too. I always like to tell people, especially if they're my clients that are taking a proactive approach and getting something together, or even just a reactive responsive thing. Cut the middleman out, go ahead and call me directly, and I can get things moving quicker. If you call my emergency number, we're going to take care of you, absolutely, but they're just going to end up giving me a call. So we might as well go ahead and cut the middleman out with that one.
Michael, a little bit earlier, you had used a term I have never heard, ERP. What is ERP?
Yeah, so ERP is an acronym for Emergency Response Plan. So again, kind of with the spiel that we talked about at the beginning, I want to help people take a proactive other than a reactive approach to what's going on. And I do that by setting people up beforehand on emergency response plan. And kind of how I like to describe that is, if you were going to the doctor, would you like to go to a doctor that knows your blood type, that knows the history of your family, the history of yourself, that kind of, is your doctor? Would you like to go to him for a checkup, or would you like to go see a new doctor? Well, I want a doctor that understands who I am, what I've been dealing with, and the history of myself, because what that's going to do is that's going to provide a better service and a quicker service, more accurate service. And at the end of the day, that's what we're looking for, honestly, in life. And so with that being said, we're the same way from the restoration side. We want to understand your business, and we want to kind of get your blood type, get some important information about what's going on so we can respond more efficiently and also more effectively.
Very
That
good.
sounds fantastic. Sounds like you're trying to take care of customer service all by yourself.
It's part of
we
the
need
part
to
of the
be
job.
having these conversations with you before we ever have an emergency. Know that we've got you in our hip pocket, and we can come to you anytime we have a flood, a natural disaster hit our house, or say we found mold in our house, things like that. We're already going to be prepared for that. Is that what you're telling me?
Absolutely. Yeah. Not only are you going to be in our system to get priority response. So the way I describe this ERP process from a benefit standpoint is not only are we gathering valuable information beforehand to help expedite this process, but really the major thing that we're doing is we're getting you taken care of beforehand. So when you give us a call, we're not worried about who your insurance agent is. We're not worried about where you are, where we need to park, in a lot of cases from commercial building standpoint. Do you have a generator? If not, where can we put a generator? A lot of this stuff sometimes will take a day to react to. And if we're able to cut out that day from a structural drying process or from an emergency response process, we're talking, alleviating a huge headache that can happen.
Well, that sounds fantastic. So as a property owner, either residential or commercial, tell me some benefits of that ERP with the fact of what it's going to do when the catastrophe actually hits.
Yeah, so I kind of touched on it a little bit before, but there's so many valuable benefits that come with this ERP. It's really hard to describe everything over this. So not only are you guaranteeing priority response in the event of an area-wide disaster, or even just a small pipe leak that's happening in your residential or commercial home or business, but you're also getting, the way I describe it is you're getting into our system. So you're going to be doing that, but also it's not just about Dalworth. It's about you. It's about, from a commercial standpoint especially, I'm able to take a list of your vendors, put it into our system where you have access to, from a proprietary software that we own that's completely free of charge. We're able to get some valuable information first and foremost, but also I'm able to put together a vendor program for you, because at the end of the day, again, going back to the doctor thing, if you have an electrician that knows your place, that knows your house or your business inside and out, why would I call my electrician to come out and look for an hour or two on how to get everything situated when you got an electrician that's ready to go. So it's really beneficial to have this system in place, one, for us, for our know-how on what we need to do and how we need to respond, but you from a document standpoint, from a transparency standpoint, and ultimately from a resource standpoint. We're pulling together resources for you to be able to use at your disposal, whether that's your resources or my resources. So it's a nice collaboration that ends up going on. And again, this process doesn't cost anything to you guys, which is so fantastic. So use us for resources, whether it costs something or not. It's a really great program.
So just to make sure I'm understanding this correctly, it doesn't matter whether it's residential or commercial, whether I rent or own the building commercial or I rent or own my house.
Absolutely. It's all about taking that proactive approach, whether it's a 1,100 square foot house or a 500,000 square foot commercial building. People need to have a plan in place. And I don't think it's a disservice to say, let me take 10 minutes of your time to put a plan together for you.
Very good. Very good. So let me kind of recap what I just heard. For you to set me up on a plan, there's no cost?
No, there's no initial cost whatsoever, and there's no residual cost to what you're doing. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to be a valuable resource to you guys. And how I do that is by putting a plan together in place. Now, don't get me wrong. If something happens and you guys do need us, there will be services that will be provided. Of course, we're very transparent here at Dalworth, so we're always going to give you an estimate up front. We're going to keep you in play the entire way from start to finish. So there are some benefits to having our services from our end, from a business standpoint, but really it's about growing, building that trust, building that friendship, and understanding your place of business or even your home in that case from a residential standpoint.
Very good. So me as a realtor, my clients, would this be something that would be good for me to tell my clients about? Say, hey, you need to get a hold of Dalworth. They can put you on a plan and they're going to have you first in line. If something happens in your home, if we have a tornado or you've got a flood, you're going to be the first in line to receive services, and they're going to give you an estimate of those services. And all of that could be free for my clients, just another benefit for them. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's a value proposition. It's something added to you and your business.
Oh, man.
Something that we add to you and your business that we bring to the table on your behalf. So in essence, you're putting your name with us. So we want to make sure we take care of your clients. So whether it's a 1,500
Let me tell you a quick story about that. We actually had a client call up and they had a water leak and they weren't sure where it was coming from exactly. They were able to get out there so quickly and take care of it so fast that they actually wound up just cleaning it up, drying it up, and very minimal damage because of how fast they reacted. Do you know how much money that saved my client? Somewhere in the neighborhood of probably bare minimum $5,000.
Oh, absolutely.
So I was very happy for
because something like that, you could be left with mold and mildew and all kinds of issues.
Absolutely. That goes back to that. And that goes back to that emergency response of just, whether a loss happens or not, you got to get somebody out there. So you need to go ahead and give me a call. And sometimes, like Michael was saying, sometimes our services aren't needed. And we're totally okay with some of my favorite times are going and solving a problem when there's not a problem to be solved. And so that's a really great feeling to have, to take care of somebody and to have that mutual respect and not put a dollar sign on it, which is one of my favorite things to do, of course. However, so for like Michael's situation that he talks about, we're not a leak detection company, but even giving me a call first, I'm able to come out, establish what's going on, put my eyes on it, and then point you in the right direction. And again, that might not be the services that Dalworth provides, but I have a very great vendor program that they adhere to our standard of care, how we do things. And so I'm able to point people in the right direction if they don't have an end result, if they don't have a vendor of their own. So we were able to get a leak detection guy out there immediately to get the problem solved. And it's just one of those extra value benefits of having my card in your pocket or being part of the emergency response.
Absolutely. Well, and I think that's great because as a realtor, I have a lot of folks that will give me a call and say, hey, it's 10 o'clock at night. I've got a pipe that's busted, and do you have somebody that you can send me? I don't have somebody already. So if they were already on this plan with you guys, they could give you a shout. You could make sure that they've got a plumber or someone to come out. And then if there's any restoration, then that's where y'all come in. Is that correct?
That's a perfect way to describe it. Absolutely.
Okay.
First and foremost, we want to get there as quick as we can, but having this emergency response plan in place is only going to make things faster.
Man, I
So if
love
I
it.
already have your plumber on a call, all I got to do is get the green light. Hey, I want to call so-and-so at so-and-so plumbing. Can I go ahead and give them a call? It looks like you need it. Michael, I don't really want to use that guy anymore for whatever reason. Or, hey, I got a new guy. He's my cousin's friend. That stuff that evolves with this plan. But just having those resources available to you is so important to get the ball rolling. And also from a project manager position that I take, I want to be able to oversee this project, especially, if it's something that's dear to your heart. So I want to be able to have one point of contact, which is me. So we're not dealing with 15 different people. We're dealing with one person. During the ERP process, you get my email, you get my personal number, you get my boss's number, my partner's number, you get everything and anything. So if I'm not answering the phone, something's wrong. However, there's other numbers that are available to you.
Very good. Very good. Well, what is the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah. So the best way to get a hold of me is through email. My email is Michael, Michael, @dalworth.com. Of course, you can always give me a call on my cell phone. My cell phone number, which I'll give it out to everybody because I always answer, is 682-300-9046. And that is my personal cell phone number. I answer it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I also receive text too. So, any way of communicating is the best way to get a hold of me. But Michael at Dalworth.com is the best way for inquiries about getting on the ERP plan. Giving me a phone call is the best way to get a hold of me in an emergency response situation.
Very good. Very good. Michael Copeland, do you have any more questions for Mr. Martin?
Well, I think he pretty much covered it, but I will tell you that I have used him in a couple of instances where he's taken such great care of my clients. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to introduce him to C-Squared Insights, because a lot of our clients don't have that understanding of what happens when that catastrophe hits. And there is protocols in place for people, and most people just don't know what they are until it happens. And I'm trying to be proactive by introducing Michael to our clients so they can see that ahead of time. Well, Michael, I want to say thank you very much for joining us and helping educate everybody that sees this. It's really great information. And here at C-Squared Insights, we really appreciate making sure that our clients have this information. This is stuff that we want them to know. So we're very glad that you shared it with us. So thank you very much for that. Yeah. And as Michael said, he's Michael at Dalworth.com. And I'm Michael Copeland with Farmers Insurance, Dean Hansen Agency. You can reach me at 972-727-9705. And of course, the wonderful Cindy Coggins of Cindy Coggins Realty.
You can reach me at 469-499-7452. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for having me, y'all.
C-Squared Insights.
Thanks, Michael.
Appreciate it, everybody.
You too.
All right.